Good morning, adventurers. We are live on our Sunday morning podcast. Today, we're talking about dire frogs and dire alligators and the Naga. I am here once again with DM Evanson, our esteemed dungeon master who's running our campaign, and my fellow dark alchemist, the dead professor, Scott. I wanted to start off the day with just talking about kind of where we were in the world of Erendor. We've last found ourselves uh, leaving Lyon to go to the city of Hope, which is a major grain supplier for Erendor, where the people there were taken over, mind controlled, and not providing necessary grain. We found ourselves traveling north next to the Monarch's Forest, also known as the Veilbreak Forest, where there's a lot of magical effects and creatures. We traveled through a swamp. We had to leave our horses behind. We came across a true believer dragonborn who believes that dragons are still around and is actually seeking an ancient red dragon. The current dragonborn in this world have sided with the humans and are known to be guards for politicians and high political ranking merchants. We then found ourselves in a area of the swamp that had a dungeon. Dave, there was no town there, right?
No.
It was just the actual, kind of like a temple.
It's the cave entrance.
Oh, in the Village of Hope?
No.
Oh, yeah, that was just a cave.
Oh.
Yeah.
We're at the cave. So on the map, you actually just labeled a cave, and we managed to we explored. We found this cave. So we enter the cave with our group of adventurers who are the Guardians of Twilight, and the reason we are the Guardians of Twilight is two of our characters believe in the Goddess of Knowledge. Could you just briefly talk about that, Scott? The Goddess of Knowledge and the Guardians of Twilight?
Sure. So in the backstory of the world, there was basically a god war at one point, and the Goddess of Knowledge was injured in that battle, and she fell into a case where she wasn't as commonly worshipped, so she kind of drifted into the background of the pantheon.
Okay.
And both Cassius and Ashara, in their backstories, found one of her temples and touched something they probably shouldn't have touched, and were given visions of her. And that's kind of how he became a cleric and she became a sorceress. That's what they made her divine soul sorceress.
Yeah, so we have Ashara Zeal, 5th level now. I see you level up your character, Divine Soul Sorceress. We have Cassius Dialudicare Zeal. He'll be a level 5, a human cleric of the Twilight Domain. Twilight Domain turned to be big. Yeah. We have 2 abilities for Twilight Domain. We have an extended dark vision and a Twilight Sanctuary. Can either of you elucidate me or educate me upon on those abilities just briefly?
Now you catch me off guard. So the dark vision, I believe it's 1 hour.
Yep, sounds right.
120-foot dark vision up to wisdom bonus other people besides himself, I believe.
Yeah.
Now we have 4 that need it, so he has always been able to cover us.
And we have the Twilight Sanctuary. Without looking up the rules, he seemed to call the Twilight around him, and it gave us some saving throw versus charm and frightened condition as long as within the Twilight Sanctuary. That was one of his, I think, channel divinities, or a version of his channel divinity.
That is his channel divinity, yeah.
At the
that's one of the
turn, it would drop.
Mm-hmm. So I did enjoy that. We have my character, Bertrand Tharian Amarath. He's a divining wizard, and I said this once before, I'm really enjoying rolling those 2 dice.
And the dark vision is 300 feet.
Oh, 300 feet, sorry.
That's why it's so much better.
Yeah, it's a long dark vision.
300 feet has almost never come up because we almost always use it like when we go underground. So it's like, it's 30 feet until the next corner.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
your dungeon does have a lot of twists and turns. At least this dungeon has a lot of twists and turns.
Yep.
So we have Bertrand. He's the divine wizard. I roll these 2 dice and I can use them. I did roll a 20 in the last session, and I was able to use that 20 to create
you rolled 2 d20s.
two D20s, and one of the 20s I knew you gave me a challenge. It was an arcane challenge where I could kind of modify a spell, but I needed a high DC, and I was able to get it just because I knew I had that 20 built in, and then I had some guidance stuff like that. We have Kumo. He's our monk. He's a warrior of shadow, and two of our characters are from the Twilight, and then we have a shadow warrior. So I think that's why we kind of made the name the Guardians of Twilight. We have a lot of stuff related to Twilight.
Yep.
We have Valum of the clan Drekendandon, if I'm saying that right. Battle Master Fighter, high damage output. And then we have Ulrich Vale, our bard. College of Lore. He's having a good time doing typical bard stuff. All right. So let's get into what I thought the first time I saw was a cute frog. So 2 sessions ago, came around the corner and you dropped this little mini. It was a cute little frog. He was all the way at the end of the hallway. I had the dark vision. I could see him. He probably was, 100, 150 feet away because it was a long corridor. We were on the other side of the dungeon. I was like, oh, that's kind of cute. And, and we didn't see the frog again. We were done with the frog. Then we came back around and we had to explore another part. So we had to go into the frog part. So the frog popped up again. And then, we're like, oh, do we have to kill the frog? Dave, I felt kind of sad having to attack the frog. I'm like, he's just living his life.
Well, it wasn't a normal sized frog. It was a giant frog. But yeah, they were aggressive. You were in
and it was bigger than all your dogs.
Way bigger.
The frog was. Let's see if I have the right. I'll try to open this picture here. Sorry, I'm freezing up a second. Oh, there we go. All right, so now we have. So we had the one frog came out, and and then we had this other frog, and we're going to call this one a toad, a dire toad. The dire toad jumps out, right? And you got other frogs, and also now we have a problem.
5 or 6 little frogs.
Yep.
Little as in giant mastiff sized.
We have 5 or 6 massive frogs and a giant toad.
Yeah, it was good stuff. Our friend painted that up, so I had to bring it out, and there was a section for frogs, and I was like, perfect. So,
did our painter Bob paint that up?
He sure did. He painted up the big toad in the center there that you see. All the other ones are pre-painted, minis that you get from D&D.
So let me ask a question: How long ago did Bob paint that up? Because Bob sent me this picture. See if I can open it. These are some cheebs that he painted for us when we did our Long Island tabletop.
Oh,
yeah. The Beholder, a little dragon guy. Everybody loves the owl bear. People are going crazy over it. You can even see those little white dots that give a little lens flare in his eyes. And then we had the tiefling bard. So Bob's a great painter. We're happy to have him on board. But so Bob painted up that dire toad, huh?
Yeah, man, it was near the beginning of the campaign, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah, so
cool.
A while it's been. Yeah, I would say like by January, he was done.
Okay. So do you want to start off with dire frogs, the smaller ones, Dave? Do we have?
I got the giant frogs already up, so you could.
Okay, so can you pull that up on your end?
Yeah, absolutely. So the giant frogs. This is from the 2024 handbook, AC 11. They only got 18 HP or 4d8. Move 30, swim 30. A basic bite attack of +3. They do swallow, so if there's something like their size is smaller, which is I think it's actually smaller. They would swallow it, but because you guys are pretty much equal or bigger. That wasn't really a case for them. If there was a halfling there, it would have been perfect. That's
okay. I'm saying a
halfling
or a gnome. A halfling or a gnome would have been considered small, right?
Well, yeah, I would have been able to definitely do that with them and add that fun swallowing ability. But that's why I added the dire toad, because I was like, well, he could do it no matter what, because he's much bigger than you and bigger base size. So that worked out perfect. But yeah, they have a swallow, which you become restrained, blind, you get total cover. But you also, I think, are suffocating while you're in this. No, but
acid
you just
acid damage.
acid damage. That's what it is. You take the 5 average, 2d4 acid damage. If it doesn't kill you, you continue staying in there, and then you get knocked prone. If it then gets kicked out and you get killed, it basically vomits you out.
So the frog can swallow a small creature, but it's only for 1 round. If it kills you, then you're eaten and you're in its belly. If not, you are getting jumped. You get knocked out, and you're.
And you guys did something smart. You saw the photo. You guys are fighting in a different room. If you engaged them in their area of water, they probably would have been able to swallow you, jump into the water because they could breathe out the water, and bring you deep.
Oh, I like that. That's really cool. That's really
but
cool.
you guys baited them further out, so you avoided a lot of that. So that was an interesting take.
Oh, it also has a standing leap, a 20-foot high, 20-foot high jump, 10-foot. So it could leap over characters and go for the soft people.
Yes, and that's kind of what I did. I also gave it because we have more players than normal, so we kind of have to scale things up a bit. We're playing, with 6, and you guys are level 4 at the time. So these are CR a quarter basically. They're very easy to kill for the most part. So I wanted to make it a little more challenging. So I gave him a leap, the standing leap with ignoring opportunity attacks, and then the big one does the standing leap. But when he lands, he could do a knockback attack. So it was like a dex save. If not, you get 50 feet back and you're knocked prone. Makes things a little more chaotic behind the lines, which was interesting. No one really expected it. But they're frogs at the day. It's like going to be a 2-hour battle, but just something cool to throw at you. You didn't see coming.
I like it.
And,
good morning to
and it was appropriate
good morning to Vorpal Bite.
Yeah.
I just want to say good morning to Vorpal Bite. I like that. Like I heard of a Vorpal Blade, but if you had a monster that had a Vorpal Bite, that might be a pretty bad creature.
I might have to do that.
Vorpal Bite or bites of sharpness or something like that. Like you start losing body parts. I don't know if I like that. I don't give Dave any ideas.
Some steaks with Vorpal Bite.
I like it. So let's see. Can we pull up the dire toad? Is that a thing, or is this just a different version of what you created, Dave?
It's pretty much just that with extra stats, extra hit points, and the extra stats are just the leap we talked about, and with the knockback ability. But everything else was the same. But a dire frog, they do have stats for that as well, which is just they get a +7 to hit. They have 60 HP. Same thing with the standing elite. They can breathe. They have a tongue lash attack, which I didn't really do because, well, you guys pretty much ate through this thing fast. But as a bonus action, you can make a tug attack, target up to 20 feet away. It does 1d6 + 4 bludgeoning. And if it's a medium size or smaller, then make a strength saving throw, DC 16. The dire frog pulls them towards them, which is pretty fun.
Okay.
But you guys were all around it, so I didn't really need to.
It did jump over and go. Like I said, big one jumped over for the soft people. Was anybody swallowed on that one?
I think someone made their save.
I think Scott, was it you? Was it Dead Professor with
No, I was hiding in the corner like I'm supposed to, and
yes,
didn't fight any of them. So
she was in an appropriate position tactically.
Position.
Yeah,
appropriate caster position.
So I like it. The bite has +7 to hit. So on a big frog, +7 is pretty significant. Our armor class is 14 to 17, 18, nothing crazy. So you drop a 10 or 11, you're basically hitting. The swallow attack is based on a strength. It has a 15 strength, so it's getting +2. We have some strong characters, but most of our characters are under that. And our monk, actually, his strength is 8. I mean, he's a dex guy, so he's been having strength problems. All along.
You guys keep making him go forward.
Yeah, thanks Vorpal for jumping on and making the comments. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Which we're new here and we're trying to kind of share our knowledge about the adventures, what we did. We're going to do some live plays where we fight monsters. These are just kind of recaps and really focusing on the different monsters and creatures we fought. And speaking of different monsters and creatures, let me remove that one and see if I can find the next creature we fought, which I thought was surprisingly cool.
Talking about the croc or.
Yeah, we're gonna pull up the dire gators. I do have a little delay of pulling
crocodiles, not gators.
Yeah.
Or the alligators or crocodiles?
Crocodiles.
dire crocodiles. So I was actually wrong with that. These are nice minis, and so we have the one bigger mini we see here,
Yeah.
but the smaller round ones, they are actually Whiz Kids, right?
Yeah, they are the prepackaged Prime minis that you could buy. I think they came in either a 2-pack or a single. I forget at the time, but
And did Bob paint these too?
no, these are the ones I just painted. But they got released like 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh, you did a good job.
Thank you. They're good enough for table. Don't zoom in.
Yeah. So this was a water filled room, and Scott, do you remember what happened over here at Kuma? Do you want to run through what we were up against?
Yeah, Kuma was scouting. So this was 2 regular crocodiles, right, Dave, and then a giant or a dire crocodile, right?
Correct.
So Kuma was scouting in. We knew the water was going to get deeper. We had to cross the room. He got about maybe 20 feet into the room, got immediately attacked by the crocodile, dragged under, like a crocodile would do. And it retreated, and then we all had to rush in to try and get him out because, as we've said, strength is not his strong suit. So in the combat, you took a potion of climb and we're kind of skating across the walls. My character, Ashara, used a jump scroll so she could jump way out to get to them because none of us are particularly strong swimmers, except for Cassius, who's perfectly designed for this and is a walking tank in the water now that he has a necklace of adaptation and boots of swimming. So he can literally just kind of walk out there and do what he wants to do, which is what he did. He waded in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at the time, level 4 character, 4 first level spells, 2 second level spells. Not a ton of spells, starting to get some scrolls. I have a potion of climbing. I think I have a potion of water breathing, maybe a potion of gaseous form. So Kumo got grabbed. So Bertrand, the wizard, said, well, let me get in a better position. I don't want to go swimming, waiting in the room. I drank the potion of climbing, climb speed of 20, ran up the walls. I kind of got myself in a good position on the bottom of the map there and started, throwing some cantrips, trying to hit the crocodile to release. And then at that time, Scott, your character Ashara, she said, "Oh, I have some equipment too, right?" And
you reminded me that I had some little level 1 scrolls, so I used a jump scroll. Yeah.
And if you can see on the map here, just north or just maybe to the left side of the photo, where Kumo the monk is next to the alligator, which was starting to drag him, doing his death roll. There was a little piece of land there that doesn't have water. You can see the squiggly lines and that. So I think you jumped over there, and a lot of people ended up on that like little beachfront, right? There was a little beach over there.
Yeah.
I jumped in the water so I could get close enough to see them, and then I cast, and then the next round I jumped to the dry land to not be in the water.
Because I had it so that the water was mucky enough that you could only see like 10 to 15 feet. So
sounds right. Yeah. So, Dave, do you have any stats for these creatures?
Sure do. So, regular crocodiles, I enjoy them a lot, especially early on. They are pretty deadly if there's water nearby. AC 12, they only got 13 HP. Speed 20, swim 30. They can hold their breath up to an hour. Their bite is plus 4. They do 1d8 plus 2 piercing. And if it's a medium or smaller creature, they are grapple condition. DC 12 while grappled, and you are restrained. And then they can grapple and pull and move on their turn. If they didn't move, if they were still enough and you didn't notice them, they could bite you and then pull you. So they're pretty cool by themselves, but you add water and they're much better.
That's a big point. So they're doing a bite, and then if the target's medium or smaller, it has the grapple condition.
Yes.
Escape DC 12. But here's the thing. The bite, a hit on a bite gives them the grapple condition. It's not like, I go to grapple somebody and start rolling dice. The hit becomes grappled, and that represents them doing the death roll.
Yeah, and when you grapple, your speed 0, your attacks are disadvantaged against any other target. And the grappler can drag or carry you when it moves. And because it's in water, they're not having any
And
limitations to movement.
there was a rule. I don't know if this rule is actually in the basic rules of the Player's Handbook and Dungeon Master's Guide, but there was something where Kumo's dragged underwater, and you were like, "Oh, did you hold your breath?"
Yeah, because it caught them off guard. I usually do like a con save basically to see if you
Yeah,
were able to
yeah,
hold your breath or a time
hmm
before you get dunked, which he
yeah.
was. But otherwise, you go up to I think it is because you're hero, so con in minutes you should be able to hold your breath, which is pretty extreme in a long time,
Con
especially in
bonus.
yeah, especially in this game.
Yeah, the con bonus, right? That's how
Yeah,
many rounds you can hold your breath
con,
for.
con bonus.
And
Yeah.
hey, if your con is low, if you have a zero, or if you had a low con, you were neg
A
one.
zero, sure, I could see that big a problem, but even a minute, a fight's not lasting a minute typically. Uh,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's a lot of time. So it gives them if they fail, they don't get to it, and they get that in rounds instead. So I usually
yeah. And
give them a
how much damage? I don't know. Is that I have to check the rules on this. I never even thought of it. Is drowning in there? Like how much damage you take around, or is it automatic? Or
I've never looked at the drowning damage rules,
Mhm.
if there
That might be
even
something
is
to look
one.
at. Yeah.
But I would just have a static like 10, 10, 10 or something like that. You know what I mean?
Okay, fair enough.
Or 10, 20, 30. Maybe it'll go up.
Just like ticking away, like
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
running out of time. Yeah. We did have one dire crocodile, which was bigger, and was that just pumped up stats on here? Oh, giant
Well,
crocodile, we have it.
yeah, I got giant croc, which is pretty good. It's the same deal. But it's obviously hits better. It's a +8 to hit. It
Okay.
does 3d8 +5 damage, piercing. Um, and if you're smaller or large or smaller, I should say, you are grappled condition with a DC 15. This one, I whiffed on all my basic attacks with this thing. I don't think I did anyone because
Oh, when
I
you attack
yeah,
us.
yeah, because 3d10 damage is pretty amazing, and unfortunately, he whiffed.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
giant crocodile, like I said, armor class 14, 85 hit points. Did you keep the 85 hit points?
I gave him a little less. I think I gave him like 60.
Okay.
Yeah,
Here's a big thing. Base speed 30, swim speed 50.
yeah,
If this thing bites you, and I don't think it grabbed any of us, it was
no,
just the smaller ones.
that was my
If
that
this
was
thing
my plan.
if this thing bites you, it's going 50, and most of us are like, whoa, even our swim speeds, uh, even um, even
Cat
Cassius with his adaption swim boots, it might. I mean, the area wasn't too big; it
30.
wasn't going to the ocean.
Yeah,
What's that, Scott?
He has a 30.
He has a
We
30.
all
yeah.
have 15s or
We have
20 for the
we
most.
have a problem all of a sudden. This thing might keep, and Kumo's the fast one.
Yeah, and that was the plan. It was gonna bite you, do the 50, and if you were still my math when I went again, I was gonna like run with him,
Another
underwater.
big number it puts up is a giant crocodile strength of 21, and then
Yeah,
let's combine that with its grapple, giving it an escape a DC 15. So there's your opposed check right there. Also, the giant crocodile has a +5 stealth. So if it's hiding in the water, we're doing a roll +5 versus passive perception.
yeah, unless you're actively looking, and then you use your other. But yeah, they also they have little bonuses because of the line of sight was limited to 15 feet.
Right. So they were in the water, so they'd be concealed. So we'd be
Yeah,
at disadvantage to see them with a
yeah.
stealth check of 15 to 20.
So there's always more
So
variables. So like sometimes if things on paper they look, you know, plain, but you got to use your environment to your advantage.
yeah. Vorpal bites say monsters with lots of hit points create long combats. So I just want to
Yeah,
address that Vorpal. We have six people, right? Or seven? We have
Six
six.
players.
6 players.
We have 6 players, so we put out a lot of damage. That being said, Dave, how do you try to kind of balance how many creatures versus how many hit points? So in this case, it was 2 regular crocs and a giant croc,
Yeah,
and that took us like half an hour.
yeah, give or take. Because it was a little bit of strategy, oh no, the water, how to get there, and make this all work. So maybe half an hour. And you did the frog battle, you did this battle, and then you did the final battle with a hefty dialogue in between with the necromancer. So it's a matter of just running scenarios a lot with people and finding out people's play speed, how much damage they can actually do in a round, and then doing a bunch of smaller counters throughout a dungeon crawl. You can kind of gauge that, and then if the next one needs more HP or less HP, you could kind of just on the fly tweak your counter.
Yeah, we're pretty lucky as a group
in
that everyone is experienced enough that we roll through our turns pretty quickly. There's not a lot of hesitation when it gets to one of our players' turns who are like, oh, I don't know, what should I do? When it gets to Bert's turn, you know what you're going to do already. You're either casting your cantrip or you're casting some other spell, but you know it. So kind of like, all right, Bert, you're up. All right, I'm going to X, and we just roll into it. So it's pretty fast.
And that ed you guys are playing since like all first ed, you experience, you know your rules, you know how everything goes. I don't need to look at the player's handbook and tell you how to play your character. So that allows me a lot more free time. I don't even look at player characters for the most part, until you level up. That's when I go, okay, what new abilities did they get? Blah, blah, blah. But I'm not like really thinking how your character works. So that allows me to focus on a lot more other things like, encounter building and stuff and making sure everything goes smoothly. And you guys are, it's a smooth, well-oiled machine, our group. So it helps. Yeah. It really does help.
Yeah, my biggest problem as a wizard is I'm 5th level now, so what spell take fireball versus something else. Yeah. But I have the Dragon's Breath, 10 rounds, but it's a 15-foot cone area of effect. And a lot of times I'm like, yeah, I'm getting ready for it. And then everybody runs in. I'm like, oh, okay, so let me figure something else out because I don't want to burn everybody. The AoE is like a fireball or a cone. I think that's the biggest problems that might slow me down. But for the most part, we run well together. So we explored more of the dungeon, and it turns out that in this dungeon, there was an evil Naga doing some sort of rites where it was mind controlling people. We did come across a necromancer who was experimenting on body parts, making zombies and like kind of flesh golems. We dispatched him. We kind of had like a little tribunal. We decided this guy was truly evil. We killed him. And then we go into the Naga.
Well, hold on. Let's just back up 1 second. Because that also brought up a huge kind of moral quandary for the group, right?
Yeah.
Is animate dead an okay thing to do?
Oh, geez. Yeah.
Yeah, says the wizard. Oh, why can't I cast it? So there is a bit of role play moral quandary in the group there with, is it okay for me to animate corpses and use them? What made this guy evil for doing this, and is it evil to do it? So it's just
it was that, and what his hand was in the finding corpses,
right?
And whether or not he was actively making these people deceased, or he was using corpses that were already dead, and So it was a very fun dialogue that I was very happy players did. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, the role-playing aspect is absolutely awesome. I really love it. We're having a good time with the role-playing aspect of it and the moral. And we actually sat down for a few minutes there and talked about it. So moving on then. Can you pull up the Naga, Dave? Do we have the Naga information?
Sure do. So this was the spirit Naga that you guys were dealing with.
Oh, see, I did not know that. I have to apologize. I thought I had a picture of the Naga. I guess I did not prepare it or take it. I forgot. I have to be a little more careful about that. So, before we talk about the combat, there's a lot of information on the screen here. Dave, why don't you run us through it? Give us some of the highlights, some of the good stats, and it looks like it has a trait and a special ability.
So it's a CR8 creature. It's AC 17. It has 135 HP. It moves 40, strength 18, dex 17, con 14, intellect 16, wisdom 15, charisma 16. Its immunities to poison, charmed. Immunity to being poisoned and charmed. It has dark vision to 60 feet, passive perception of 12. He knows common and abyssal. So cool trait is when you kill it, if it dies, I should say, the Naga returns to life in 1d6 days and regains all its HP, and only a wish spell could prevent this trait from functioning.
Well, let's stop right there for 1 second.
Sure.
So it's an abysmal creature. It's some sort of demon because it's a spirit Naga.
Yeah.
What do you think about this Phoenix Restoration, Scott? What do you think about the Phoenix Restoration as part of a campaign? A wish spell is a pretty heavy hit.
Yeah, again, it was something none of us were prepared for. Again, the group is pretty good about, we knew we were going to fight a Naga, but it's not like anybody went and looked it up because we would have noticed that and been like, oh shit.
Yeah.
We have a problem here.
So Dave's like, okay, everybody make an Arcana check when we finally killed it. And I think you rolled exceptionally well. And he's like, you realize that this thing's coming back.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that kind of put a wrench in our works. We were like, oh, Naga's done. We can go back to what we were ready to do. So instead, we had another session where we had to kind of figure out what to do about it coming back. And we had all sorts of plans of do we flood the cave and collapse the cavern? What happens if it tries to reform where the cave is collapsed or flooded? And we ended up figuring out we had a sending stone, so we reached out for some advice, and they basically told us you need to create a ward to block it, and any wizard should have the basic knowledge to do that.
Let's swing back around to that because I like to talk about the discussion for a minute. But that's an excellent point. Yeah, we actually reached out that we're sent on this adventure to get the wheat and kind of reclaim the town. And then Dave, the stuff he's throwing at us, it seems like it's above our pay grade. We're like a journeyman, and it's like, hey, do this, this, and this. We're like, okay, let's do our best.
Well, listen, in the times of struggle, the great ones will rise.
Okay, I guess so.
Or,
so can you bring
or
us
fall? Yeah.
Can you bring us back to then its attack characteristics?
Yeah. So not only can it do that, but it has a few other neat actions. It has a bolt attack. It can make 3 attacks using its bite or its necrotic array in any combination. Its bite is a +7. It does 1d6 plus 4 piercing plus an additional 4d6 poison damage. Average is 14.
That's a lot.
The necrotic array, which I hit the monk with a few times, and that really dropped him. That was a +6 to hit. And it does 6d6 necrotic damage. Average was 21 damage. Spellcaster, it was DC 14. I think I bumped that up a little bit to make it a little more challenging. It's at will stuff is very, detect magic hand, mirror image, water breathing. Nothing really matters unless you try to do like ambushing or trickery, illusions. But it had lightning bolt, hold person, and dimension door, which I think are the more appropriate ones. Detect thoughts would have came in handy if it was like leaving or trying to get you guys in the dungeon, but it was very happy with its current positioning.
Did you convert lightning bolt to fireball, Dave? Or
yeah.
Did you add fireball? Okay.
Yeah, well, I pulled this from a module, and it says to do the fireball.
Okay.
It also made sense because I wanted to do it at a very high level. I wanted to be like a high-level fireball to see if you guys were going to try to counterspell it or whatever.
Well, Dave, you did throw a fireball, but then you also were nice to us. I have a pet ferret, which just kind of found me, and it turned out to be a polymorphed wizard who popped out of ferret form, cast counterspell, stopped the fireball, basically saved the party, and then said, "That's all I got, kid. Go take out that Naga."
It wasn't a pet ferret. It was a wizard's familiar who he sent with us, or at least we thought it was his familiar that he sent with us because it could guide us here. We did not know it was the wizard.
He was an unsupervised wizard.
We did have some suspicions it was the wizard, but yeah.
You have these pictures. Good, Dave. Yeah. Okay.
A picture of the battle attack.
Right. So Kumo and Valum started rowing the boat across, and we tied a rope to the boat so that we could pull the boat back so the rest of us could get across the room before we knew the Naga was there.
Yeah, the Naga popped out on us. Scary stuff.
Yeah.
Dave, do you
Monk
like?
actually did something I didn't expect. He grappled it, and the grappling of it really threw a wrench in my abilities because I was expecting that. I didn't want to use the dimension door right away because I'd be burning it early. But he actually kind of forced my. If I didn't drop him that one turn, I was good. He was basically forcing my hand to use it, but and because of where I was, I couldn't really get behind you, and the other scary character with a battle axe was right next to me, so I had to basically dimension door away because he held me there for so long,
Yeah,
forcing me,
I
to
need to
go.
reread the grappling rules with the new monk roll combination because it's nasty.
Yeah, but it worked out well for you guys. But it was still, he still has enough damage that it was scary. But it was fun. It was a fun encounter, and a nice end. And I think just you trying to deal with how to deal with his spirit coming back was more entertaining for me, at least.
Well, let me ask a question, and then we'll deal with that. So, a multi-attack, 3 attacks on him, any combination of using bite, necrotic ray, which is nice. He could blast two. He could blast 2 casters and try to bite the monk in front of him. If he casts the lightning bolt or the fireball, is that the full action? Does he still get the attacks, or is that one of the multi-attacks?
I would allow that as just one of their attacks, but I wouldn't
Okay.
do it as like they could do 3 lightning bolts. It'd be like 1 spell attack and then 2 every
Lightning
time.
bolt, a bite, a necrotic ray, or 2
Yeah.
bites and a lightning bolt. Okay. Yeah. So we did manage to defeat the Naga. We beat him down through, magic and battle axes and punches. I kind of made a joke when we found out that it's coming back. I said, you can actually, this dungeon could almost be like a Disneyland. You can build a whole society about it. You call up Leon. You have some of the special magic defending guards come. They stand around the Naga. It's an assignment. There's 4 guards with axes. As soon as it reforms, they start chopping it away. In that case, you're gonna need some barracks. You need a guard rotation. Maybe a staff wizard. You're gonna need a food supply. They're gonna need some entertainment. And now you have this cave. Outside the cave, maybe there's a tavern, and it's in the forest. So people out in the swamp, people are stopping by the tavern, and you have like this whole society built around every 3 to 6 days.
Well,
That
D 6 days really.
Yeah, so those guards have to be there. They don't know when it's going to happen. It's happening at chop, 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 and it becomes like and then the government's like, why are we spending, why are you spending like 20,000 gold a year on this town for the guard, the guards? Well, we don't have a wish spell, so we need what this not going to come back and rampage, and it all becomes like an infrastructure thing. So I thought that was a good idea. But fortunately, with the sending stones, we had another idea, which was to make a magic circle.
Dave,
But
did
they,
they
but they,
take
the,
did they take charm out of the Naga's stat block?
it's immune to charms.
Yeah, but no, the Naga used to have that dominate ability, and I don't see that in this stat block.
Yes, the Spirit Naga in the 2014 had the Dominate Person 5th level spell.
Mm.
And now it doesn't.
And now it does not.
But Dave, real world, it should, because that was the whole premise, that it was dominating people, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's the whole premise of the module I pulled it from First Ed and everything. So I'm not quite sure why they got rid of that aspect of it, unless they gave it to another Naga style that I'm not familiar with. But if you pull up this.
Yeah, I was just looking at 2014. It has the 5th level dominate. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about the changes between 2014 and 2024, and like that's one that just slipped under the wire. That was kind of part of the whole premise of the Spirit Naga. Is that's how it kind of got its forces, right? It lives forever and it charms its foes, drawing them in.
100%.
Well, a dungeon master tip is your Spirit Naga can be whatever your Spirit Naga needs to be. In this case, your Spirit Naga was dominating people and creating a cult, which affected the town of Hope. So if you need to go back to an older edition, you make it what it is. And speaking of that, let me see if I have the right page now. If I can share the screen, which is the Cult of the Reptile God Wikipedia. So let's remove Dave's here. N1, Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, against the Cult of the Reptile God. I love the old artwork. I know some people know the names of these artists. I'm not sure which. I'm sure it's a famous artist at the time who did a
Not
lot
up
of
if
these.
you're trying to put it up, right?
Was
The
that?
image is not up. The image is not up
Oh,
if you were trying to put an image up.
really? It looks like it's up on my screen.
Yeah, same.
So, okay, we'll take it down. So it's an old book, and you pulled the information out of there, Dave. And in that book, Naga could dominate. So just as you're a game master, just go with it. If that's what you need to work in
Yeah,
the adventure,
absolutely.
that's what you need. Yeah. So, Dave, what was the answer from the Wizards Council? It was make a ward.
Make a ward. Yes, a warding circle. Unfortunately, you were with a guy whose memory is kind of shit, and I didn't want to give him as the I'm higher level, so I have every answer. So he had to work with you, and you had a spell that you acquired that had a very similar summoning circle, which you kind of altered and with his knowledge and everyone else's arcane knowledge and priestly knowledge, you were able to
Yeah, it
make
turns
a
out that
warding circle.
four out of 6 of our characters are proficient in Arcana.
Yeah, it's very effective to
And highly
figure out
And
Arcana related to dilemmas. Yeah. So I
Yeah,
actually
so-
kind of have this as a spell. I was working as a write up so that you could use this in the future. So I'm gonna. So if you want to put it in your spell book, we're gonna make it as a spell as well. It'll be a warding circle basically, and a hat like the components are gonna be like either ink or chalk. The circle's gotta be blessed either by a priest or holy water.
Okay.
Usually silver ink for writing, some candles, some herbs or incense, a personal focus of the item. So if you were using a Naga, maybe blood or any type
Okay.
of leftover material. And this works for like fiends, basically. And the circle's got to remain unbroken. And that will be the gist of the spell. So we'll work on it. But if you ever want to use it again, those will be like the components.
Well, that's a good point. First, there's a level 3 spell that is called Magic Circle. I always like Harry Dresden books, and I like the fact that he would make these circles kind of on the fly. But in D&D, it's much slower. The Magic Circle takes, I think, a full minute to cast. It's 10 rounds to trap something. And also, if you don't know the spell, you don't know it. So I like the fact that in this case, you said that we did some arcane research. We worked together. I knew I could make that roll. I think the DC turned out to be 30.
Yeah.
I had +9 at the time, so within the realm of possibility. But I had rolled at Divine of 20, so I was able to plug that in. Plus my 9, plus the at least 1 point of guidance from Cassius.
Yeah.
Would, definitely get me there. So that's one thing in D&D. How do you create new spells? And in the Dungeon Master's Guide and the Player's Handbook, it's not really creating spells on the fly. But the Wizards Council said, hey, you're a 4th, 5th level wizard. You should know how to do this. So I like to add that in, and I like to do more of that. What kind of spells do you think, you should be able to create short term and then eventually make them long term? Like you're saying, we tried this once and now we'll be able to create this again and make it a permanent type of spell on the list?
Yeah, that way you have that the theory crafting works. Now it's just a more of refining it and getting it so that you could put it in a spell formula that goes into a book permanently and becomes a recognized spell that you could cast either at will or as a ritual. Yet to be determined. We'll work on the the logistics
Well,
of
and
it.
that brings us back full circle to our discussion about Animate Dead.
Yep.
Because Roy and I were talking and it's kind of a character conversation about, why does it have to my character who is further good, chaotic good, but still good. So it doesn't think that, animating undead is a good thing and we shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
So I was like, so her proposal was, well, why does it have to be a corpse? Why couldn't it be, a straw man or a stick man or anything else? And Roy and I have talked about this a little bit. And so we're going to try and develop a spell that's an equivalent to Animate Dead, but doesn't use a corpse because that's violating somebody's corpse from my character's point of view. So, opened that up with Dave. How do we go about creating a spell? And we're going to do it similar to the way you create a magic item.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good. I like that. Yeah, and the big sticking point with the animate dead was after 24 hours. It's just some skeletons walking around and some zombies walking
Right.
around.
They're no longer under control.
I mean, is it that permanent? So just say there was a wizard 500 years ago. He animated 4 skeletons, and the last order he gave was guard this door. He goes inside. He dies of old age. 500 years later, there's four skeletons. Guard that door, right? I mean,
yeah. Whether or not they're still doing the carried out order is a different story. But they'll be there unless there was a way that they could wander away or something. But for the
but I'm saying that's a pretty powerful 3rd level spell to have a skeleton last 50 years or a zombie just walking around, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We had that in one of my campaigns that played as a Pathfinder, and one of the clerics escaped through stone shaping his way out of jail and then raising dead to carry him while he was sleeping. So he'd have the dead carry him while he was running away because he got too tired. And he'd raise the dead, carry him while he slept, and then he'd wake up and run. I was like, that's
Our next convention is CradleCon, May 17th and 18th at the Cradle of Aviation Museum. It's a 2-day convention for pop culture, Dungeons and Dragons, comic books. We're going to have more miniatures there. Stop on by. Scott will be there. Dave, you said you'll be there?
Yep.
You'll stop by. You're welcome to stay at our table. We appreciate the help.
Yeah, check it all out. I like checking out new cons.
Let me see, and let me know if this comes up, Scott, on our video here. I'm sharing now. Give it a minute to load in. Let's mute that. So we have that coming up. I'll give it a little pause right there. So this is your game. And this is a projector on the ceiling, right?
Yep. So this is our new expansion to the game room. So this is now a mounted projector on the ceiling that will project onto the table. A lot of people are doing televisions flat mounted in boxes or built into the table, and I've bounced that idea around. We do have one built into the wall, but wanted a way for Dave to be able to project maps because we've been printing these big maps. We're lucky we have somebody who has a plotter available, so we print big maps. But we lose that fog of war element we were talking about. So the ability to project a map on here, and then Dave can lay the fog of war so that we can't see where we haven't been. We just thought it would be a great example. It looks like it's working pretty well so far.
Yeah, I like the size. It's where normal rollout mats and stuff are just like that extra 2 feet on each side.
Yep.
Which kind of just everyone's got to move their stuff and drinks. And if you try to do something like spur the moment, it's a little disruptive. And that when you're working in a time frame of setting up an encounter could be 10 minutes if you got to move everybody's stuff and roll the mat out and put terrain out. And this is beautiful. Love technology.
Yeah.
So 3D dungeon tiles as a
Vorpal says 3D dungeon tiles. So we use 3D dungeon tiles. We use 3D printed. We love to print stuff. 3D printed castles. You have the warlock terrain, Dave.
Yeah.
We print out paper maps. We have the dry erase map. The markers. We always try to use the right markers. We ruined a few. I mean, I think I ruined one myself, Scott's, with the permanent marker.
It just kind of depends on what you need, what situation calls for.
Right. So generally, when it's a fixed location like a building or something like that, Dave likes to use the warlock tiles and make the whole room. We have plenty of furniture and stuff like that. It looks fantastic. We've done some big builds of that. But when we're rolling through a dungeon, like we were in this adventure, it's hard because you don't know which way the players are going to go. You don't know which rooms we're going to end up in. So this is an alternate ability we have now.
Yeah, and laying out all the 3D dungeon tiles for a 2-story dungeon is annoying. Only because if they go downstairs right away, it's like, oh, I gotta take apart the whole dungeon now.
And we've done that to you with whole, you've set up table setups for us, and then expecting where we were going to go, and then we went a completely different direction. And you're like, okay, and you just wipe it all away, and we're like, wow, now we feel bad because you set all that up and didn't even go there.
Yes.
What I like about this, Scott, again, this was just a test run. I was concerned that when you put the miniature down on it, too much of the color or the light would kind of bleed on it, and
Oh
you
yeah.
know, you would lose the miniatures. But honestly, I mean, if we go back and we just take a look at the miniature, I think it's perfect. Like the light is lighting them up, but you don't really see the color of the browns on them, and you just see the miniature sits there good. And you know, if you wanted to throw a piece of 3D terrain on here to fill something out, you could. But
Exactly.
you know,
And
yeah,
we can
fill it in.
wet erase marker on it because it's just a whiteboard I'm projecting on, so Dave can draw stuff on it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fact that that's a dry erase board is just you know, pretty amazing. And that was on Amazon, right? You got that? Yeah, we have a microphone up there. We've been recording our sessions and trying to use some AI just to kind of remind us, you know, what happened on the session. But yeah, the whiteboard's awesome. And you started collecting some map packs, I hear, before you even got the projector. You said, "Hey, this sounds like a fun hobby. Let me buy 10,000 maps."
No, that was 3D printing. But yeah, same thing. So I started doing a couple Patreons for people who do RPG maps. And this is just one of them that I pulled up real quick. It's a Wi-Fi connection, so it's not even like I had to run wires for it. So
oh wow, is it? Okay, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's a Wi-Fi projector. Yeah.
Wow,
So,
it's just man, just amazing what you can do nowadays.
Yeah, that's gonna be a big help. I actually gonna spend a good portion of today just looking at maps. So,
and so the second part, which we don't really know yet, is the fog of war part. Can you black out half this map or a part of the map or a part of the dungeon? We think you can do it. We're just not really sure how we can do it yet.
yeah, I'm sure there's programs, if not stuff I could just overlay on top of a map or something, or you know, even if I just zoomed in and as you went, maybe zoomed out, or just a whole bunch of things you could do.
You can definitely just do it in Photoshop with just blocks, cover up sections,
exactly.
and delete the blocks. So I mean, there's definitely ways to do it. But there's certainly a ton of VTTs, virtual tabletops that'll let you do fog of war,
and that's good for like dungeons. But like in that scenario, if that was the battle map, nothing really needs to be fog of war. You know, what I mean, it's out in the open. But yeah, it's cool stuff.
Vorpal likes the museum quality display. Yeah, we're gonna do a tour of the Dead Professor's game room one day. He built it. I helped a little bit. I like to think his friend Steven built, who build sets for Broadway and teaches that. I'm still amazed about your locking system, or not the latch system for the hidden doors. So we'll do all that. But yeah, this is today's Sunday broadcast with Dungeon Master Roy. We're Dark Alchemy, me and the Dead Professor Scott. Dark Alchemy Limited. We sell miniatures. We print stuff. We're at some conventions. Dave jumped on the Dark Alchemy bandwagon, but he also has his own links and his own show on Twitch. You can follow DM Evanson on Instagram at DM_Evanson.
Yeah, pretty much on all the socials.
Yeah, all the socials. You can find us on Instagram also, although we mostly like to be on YouTube to do our podcasts and our gaming. We're just having a good time talking about Dungeons & Dragons, really focusing on that. Any parting shots, any parting words about dealing with Naga or dire frogs or dire alligators, Dave?
Do you know how the fishes got down there?
No, I don't. I think it was a stock pond so people could enjoy fishing.
Well, when two fishes love each other.
Oh, nice. That's how they got down there. And they made lots of baby fishes. Thank you. What about you, Professor? Any parting shots or insights into the world?
I think when it comes to dire frogs and dire crocodiles and nagas, I would choose to stay home in a warm bed.
Yes. Yeah. So as role playing a wizard, I am trying to be like, I come from academia, so I want to be comfortable. Like there was mud. I'm like, really? I'm like, I'm not going in the mud. And you have prestidigitation. You clean yourself off. I can do it once a day. You're kind enough to do it for us. But I'm like, let the monk go. Let the fighter go wade in there. Cassie's, he's got the amulet. I'm just gonna sit on the shore here, eat my good berry, and if you need me to cast a spell, let me know. I'll be right there. Is there a boat? I don't want to be getting all dirty and stuff.
You and the bard.
Yeah. They'll be in the bar just chilling back. So. But that's our Sunday morning broadcast. Join us next week where we'll be. Dave, we're playing this Wednesday, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I'll give you a tip, a hint.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna have a.
Bring your number 2 pencil.
Okay, bring my number 2 pencil. I'm gonna have a diviner tip, and hopefully we have some more monsters for next week. I think what we're gonna do is maybe Scott. We'll look more into monk grappling, and we'll see. Scott is very good at. He's very knowledgeable with the rules. Let's see if we can break the monk. And hey, thank you, Vorpal. I appreciate that. Let's see if we can break the monk. What can we min and max out? I don't like to do that. I like to role play it more. But I mean, some of the combinations. Some of the combinations on a monk are just brutal. The damage he's putting out. So maybe we could talk about the monk a little bit.
So early.
I know.
It's going to get worse this level. This level, it's going to get worse because now he gets 2 attacks.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe we could talk about that either Tuesday night or next Sunday. We have to check our show schedule. But either way, we'll definitely be back here next Sunday. I hope everybody has a great day. I hope you get your games in and make sure to let the dice tell the story.
Have a good one, everyone.
Take it easy. Let's play that outro. Bye.
All right.
Still live.
I like that.
I'm trying to end this still. How do I end the stream? Dave, can you end it? We are still live here. Oh, somebody. Did Dave end it?
Dave ended it for him. We're still live.